Now that you've seen the worst, it's time to talk about the bright side of film. I can't fucking whistle, as you can hear. It's time to talk about the bright side of film. Yes, I have watched many, many movies released in 2022, 86 to be exact, as I said at the beginning of my worst films of 2022 so far list. Yes, 86 goddamn movies, because clearly I just want to watch every goddamn thing. Streaming services in theaters, doesn't fucking matter. I'll get them streamed directly to my brain next. It'll be like Scanners, and it'll fucking explode. Anybody seen Scanners? Let me know if you've seen Scanners in the comments. But 31 A grade movies, ranking from A minus to A plus to A plus plus, which I'll talk about a couple of those here. But let me know your favorite movies of 2022 in the comments, please. But I'm John Retton with my 10 favorite movies of 2022 so far with honorable mentions. Obviously, with 31 A grade movies, it's impossible to summarize every single praiseworthy thing about all these movies. It would be it's there's no way I won't end up doing a top 20 favorite movies of the year list, because there's been a lot of great indie horror movies, a lot of great just movies in general, some that went straight to streaming services, some that were meant to be experienced in theaters, and one surprise box office hit that I will be talking about. So nevertheless, we go to the honorable mentions. Lightyear, really, really good stuff from Disney and Pixar. It featured a same-sex kiss in an animated movie. All the Christians that are so about rights and women's rights were clutching their pearls and all upset. The Lost City, fucking terrific stuff from Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum with a cameo from Brad Pitt. It was really, really good. Far more entertaining than any goddamn right to be. This was really, really good shit. I had a great fucking time watching this in theaters. Scream 5, If Man Is Still Alive. And when it comes to that, sorry, a little bit of a spoiler, one man is not alive by the end of that. They're also doing Scream 6, taking place in New York, which means Ghostface Takes Manhattan. If that isn't the title of some people's reviews, I don't know what the fuck is going on in society anymore. The Worst Person in the World. Great, great study on what happens when you fall out of love with somebody, and maybe while you think you had the best intentions, maybe wasn't the best goddamn thing, and how actions can have consequences. And it was really, really good stuff from Neon Studios. And Neon Studios either makes really, really, really good shit. They're one of my favorite studios. They're not A24, but they're one of my favorite studios in my top 2, as it were. And then also they can make some really bad shit. So got to watch Crimes of the Future at some point. And then also The Outfit. It was in theaters, it didn't do all that well, and then it went to The Cock, and turned out to be a great, it was almost like a one-act play, stretched out to about 95 minutes, about gangsters and mobsters that in 1950 Chicago. Really, really good shit. Great time period, great stuff. It was stripped down, and even though it was somewhat simplified, they had enough layers to the characters that it really, really worked. And will probably be in my top 20 by the end of the year. You could argue almost that movie should have been in the top 10, but nevertheless, if Outfit is in your top 10, please let me know there. So let's get on with the top 10. Men. Well, Alex Garland has made Ex Machina, written and directed Ex Machina, and also Annihilation. I enjoyed Ex Machina, did not enjoy Annihilation. That's really hard to say. And I was excited to see what they were going to do with Men. Let me just say this movie is bonkers. Really, really fucking bonkers. It's one of the recent releases, so I'm not going to get into major spoilers. Jessica Buckley was really, really good. And man, this movie is just a goddamn trip and then some. It's wild, it's crazy. It shows how people could deal with loss and how some people don't handle loss well. And it is bizarre and strange and violent and weird, and has a third act that is still seared into my fucking brain. I mean, I know this movie's only been out like about 5 weeks, but still, it is wild and crazy. And I fucking loved it. It will definitely end up being in my top 20. So now we go to Belle, Belle. It's basically, of course, it's set in the U verse, not the SCU verse, because it's not SCU. No, non-wrestling fans have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. It's an anime movie that is, it's really hard to describe without getting into spoilers. There's a baseline of the Beauty and the Beast storyline, but also it's about so much more than that. It's about the actions of some people and how pain and torment can really, really shape people, and how you can be who you are in this you, in the U-verse. But boy, man, it has a jarring reveal. I mean, it's a reveal that I think everybody could see coming, but it's the way it was done in such a realistic fashion, despite the anime setting. It ends up being one of my favorite films of the year. Very emotional, very, very Jesus. I mean, that fucking last 15, 20 minutes is just really goddamn bizarre. Bizarre and just like, holy shit, we had a real tonal shift here. But it's really good stuff. We go on to number 8, Turning Red. Oh no, we're teaching young women about menstruation in an animated setting. Let's clutch our pearls again, you fucking stupid Christian twats. Or you religious twats. I'm just going to go with all religious twats and want to get upset about that. And twat, by the way, can apply to men and women. Nevertheless, Turning Red. Girl turns into a giant red panda when she starts to enter womanhood. I mean, pretty goddamn self-explanatory there. This was just released on Disney+. I do not know why they didn't release this in theaters. They could have released it on Disney Plus and in theaters, and I don't think they would have taken much of a bath. I think people would have turned out to watch this. That being said, it was nice to watch it on Disney Plus in the comfort of my own home. And you can't watch it in the comfort of my own home. What the fuck are you doing in my house? Get the hell out of here. Nevertheless, Turning Red was really, really fucking terrific. Very entertaining. Don't know why they really need to have a twerking red panda at one point. It's about the only thing where I was thinking, what the fuck is going on? But it was really, really good shit. It was also set about in 2001, 2002. So it was really good stuff. I really enjoyed this movie. It was pretty damn emotional too, because it had a great, great family dynamic. And even great, great, great family dynamic. Because I think there were a lot of old people in the family. Nevertheless, let's go to number 7, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Massive. I said that wrong. Said it wrong unintentionally. Or intentionally. You figure it out. Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage, as the most Nicolas Cage movie ever to be filmed is put on screen. And it's really good shit. I'm not the biggest Nicolas Cage fan, but I respect the fact that after he did a bunch of big blockbusters and spent himself basically into bankruptcy practically, that he did a bunch of bad movies, but also a bunch of movies that actually got some critical praise, low budget shit and whatever. Willy's Wonderland was really good. Pig was really good. Showed off his acting chops. Remind you that he is one of the best goddamn actors. When he's at the peak of his fucking powers, he is fucking tremendous. And also, Color Out of Space, which would be one of my favorite movies. I believe last year. I think it came out last year. It might have come out in 2020. I think it came out last year. I'm really trying to remember because there are so many. Since 2019, well, 2018, I've increased the amount of movies that I've seen released that particular year, whether on streaming, in theaters, and then once theaters shut down during the pandemic for a while, I did 138 movies released in 2020. And my whole point is that sometimes I get the dates wrong, but Nicolas Cage has done some really, really good shit, and this is one of the best. You could argue that maybe this should be in the top 5. If it's in your top 5, I would absolutely love to hear it. But just great stuff and a great meta commentary on his career, and he basically is back. He's doing some great shit. He's out of debt, and hopefully he can continue do some great goddamn movies and have a great, third act to his career. If you think about it, you had the first act, Raising Arizona, all the way up to Leaving Las Vegas, and then the blockbusters, and then the sink down to stuff like Wicker Man and stuff I mentioned before. And now he's coming back with movies like this. Number 6, The Batman. Robert Pattinson, yes, Edward himself from Twilight, did this rendition of Batman. And it was really good. It was released in theaters and got a lot of money at the box office. I decided not to watch it because when I saw the runtime, I'm like 3 hours almost. Fuck, I am not sitting down for that long. It turned out I made the right choice waiting for HBO Max. I ended up watching it the first day it dropped, and I really, really liked it. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, my goodness. And also, Colin Farrell, unrecognizable as the Penguin, and other great characters. It was dark, it was gritty, it was also to the point where it's almost a little bit too dark. That's about really my only complaint about the movie. I'm like, it's so dark, I'm like, boy, it sounds like a nice action scene. I sure wish I could see it. But Robert was great as Batman, and it's going to be interesting to see how they continue this career trajectory. Easy, yeah, that's a hard word for me to say for some reason, but it's really, really good stuff. I love the Batman. I thought it was fucking great. It was in my top 5 originally, but there's another movie with the in it that beat it. Number 5, The Northman. Yeah, it's from Robert Eggers, who did The Witch, did The Lighthouse, and now he's done this. And he went from like 4 million to 7 or 8 million, whatever The Lighthouse was. I forget exactly. Actually, I forget the budgetary stuff. They both were really, really low. Really, really good goddamn movies. And then they gave him 70 to 90 million to do something like this. And Ethan Hawke died in the beginning. Yay! But, and I'm not the biggest fan of Ethan Hawke, even though I might talk about something a little bit later that had Ethan Hawke in it. It also has Anya Taylor-Joy, who is a fucking goddess, and then some. My goodness, I will watch anything that she is in. She was great in Last Night in Soho, which was my favorite movie of last year. You can check out those countdowns if you would like. And she's been great since The Witch and so many other things, whatever. Still need to watch The Queen's... Excuse me. I still need to watch The Queen's Gambit. Damn allergies. No, still need to watch that show. If you've seen The Queen's Gambit, I would love to know what you have to say. And this is just really good. Great epic. Just fantasy, swords, and sorcery epic that was just great. That ended in one of the best goddamn fight scenes I've seen in a movie in a while. This was fucking goddamn tremendous. I loved watching this in theaters. I had a great goddamn time. And again, Anya Taylor-Joy, who just is so fucking beautiful. Good grief. Also very good. Very good in movies. Because beauty will only take you so far or whatever if you can't act. Oh, hi, Gal Gadot. I didn't see you there. Also, Death on the Nile should get an honorable mention for actually being pretty good. So then we get to number 4, The Black Phone. If you had told me that The Black Phone would end up being in my top 5 of, in the top 5 of my favorite movies of 2022 so far by this point, I would have laughed in your face and said, haha, fuck you. And then I would have felt bad and would have eaten crow because... From the writer-director of Sinister, and also the writer of Sinister, C. Robert Cargill, C. Robert Wright, Robert Wright. No, I'm not going to forget that goddamn thing. He helped craft a great goddamn movie. Ethan Hawke was in it. The kid actors were fucking tremendous. This was great goddamn shit. Magnifique. Great horror elements. Really had a great level of tension. Also was done in about 95 to maybe 100 minutes. That's how you fucking do a horror movie. You don't overextend your welcome. It was just really fucking good. It's the most recent movie that I've released, or I've released, that I've watched in theaters, that I reviewed. Great shit. Great goddamn shit. Fucking loved it. Go check out The Black Phone. I was pleasantly surprised, considering that I hated Sinister. Now we move on to number 3, X. It was great. Mia Goth, it had Jenna Ortega, it had other people in it, and it was also just a great throwback to the late 70s, early 80s slashers from A24, so you know it's going to be fucking good, and I fucking loved it. Go watch it. X is fucking tremendous, because X is going to give it to you. Yes, I had to work that in, because I'm a white person trying to say rap lyrics, so you know it's going to be really goddamn forced. EXO is great and just violent and brutal. And apparently they're going to do a prequel called Pearl based on the old lady from the movie. So I'm all for that. I ended up having to leave the theater before seeing that plug at the very end of the credits, which is unfortunate because I really, really should have stayed. But nevertheless, I had something to do. Can't wait to see the prequel. X is fan-fucking-tastic. Another slam dunk, home run, whatever you want to call. A goal from A24. Number 2, Top Gun Maverick. Copy and paste the kind of the same thing that I said about Black Phone, but if you told me that the Top Gun Maverick was going to end up being one of the best goddamn sequels to ever be made, and that I was going to put it in my top 2, I would have laughed in your goddamn face and said, fuck it, the first Top Gun was fine, it was entertaining, but there's no way they can have an emotionally investing story set 36 years after the first one came out. There's no fucking way they can do that. No fucking way. This had in development hell. It was basically, I don't even want to say cobbled together, but they did this despite all, limitations with the pandemic, shooting, stuff like that and whatever, and they waited and they waited and they waited to put this in theaters, and it was fucking mind-blowing. It was the filming in the jets, the action sequences, the fact they got an emotional story out of this, seeing Val Kilmer, unfortunately what's left of him, and one of the most emotional stories, and it's just really, really sad what happened to him. If you read up, like, battling up some form of throat cancer, it's sad just how much he suffered. But the fact they were able to get this movie going and they were able to make this movie this fucking good amazed me. I was close. I may end up actually putting this as my number one because it was really close between number two and number one. But Top Gun Maverick is really good. However, as of this moment, as of June 28th, 2022, my number one, Everything Everywhere All at Once. It features the guy who was the kid in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, who just decided I'm going to bop back into acting and do this. It features Michelle Yeoh. Jamie Lee Curtis. I can understand why people may not like this movie. I totally respect that. For me, it's from A24. It was from the guys that did Swiss Army Men, and it was an amalgamation of a bunch of genres, Human Centipede together, and presented to everybody on screen as, I believe, the highest grossing A24 movie, or close to it. And it made so much goddamn money, considering that a movie this obscure, a movie this bizarre made that much money, especially as theaters are sometimes struggling to find hits and everything, and some studios are struggling to gain a proper audience after, roaring back from the pandemic. It's a miracle this movie did as well as it did, but I'm glad it did. It was really, really fucking good. I fucking loved Everything Everywhere All at Once. It made me cry, and I don't understand why exactly, but it was long, like just about almost 2.5 hours, but it was really worth it, and 100% grade A plus. AA plus, not even A plus plus, but AA plus, because that's how you do grades. I loved it, but I can understand why people didn't. Now, that being said, we're looking forward to a great second half of 2022. I'm looking forward to movies like Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Bullet Train might be good. I don't know. Nope will probably be good. And The Menu, and a few others. Also, Halloween Ends. Please let it end. Especially if you're thinking like Halloween Kills. Moving on from that. Let me know your favorite films of 2022 in the comments, please. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.